Hi, everybody. This is Carolina Millan. Welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Hustle. And I'm here today with a lady, woman entrepreneur, millennial entrepreneur as well, Chelsea Krost. How are you, Chelsea?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing good as well. It's good to have you here. We are all in lockdown right now, so we can definitely relate to each other.
Yes.
And I met Kelsey a few months ago. Actually, we were both included in an article, and I started checking out all the people who were on this. It was on Business Insider, right? And I
Yes.
started following everybody that was included in the article. It was about personal branding, and I followed Chelsea. We started talking, and she invited me on her Twitter show. We're gonna talk about that, and we hit it off. And now she's here on my podcast. So happy to have you.
Yes.
And yeah, let's start with a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background, your story, how you started this movement that you're in right now, and anything you want to share.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And it's so nice to connect. And, that's the beautiful thing about online and social media is that, we're constantly being connected or introduced to more great people, even if, we live in Chile and the United States.
Yeah.
Gotta love social media and the internet for that. But my journey actually starts over 10 years ago. It was 2007, and it was a totally different time that we are living in
Oh
right now.
yeah.
If you could remember 2007, I mean, iPhone was in its beginning stages. Social media was just for MySpace and weird cat videos and
I know.
nothing in regards to building an online footprint or personal brand for entrepreneurs today in monetizing their skill set or more of their business hustle, right? So it was just a totally different time. I happened to have been in high school and a junior in high school, and the conversation about the next generation really was starting to be everywhere across broadcast media, digital media, and really content for millennials at the time consisted
Mm,
of MTV and Disney Channel, and it's amazing how little amount of content compared to how much content we have today,
yeah.
and educational and entertaining content, right? Like all these e-learning opportunities we have online. It's incredible. So I was very frustrated by the lack of connection. I was really craving social media before it developed into what we know now. And I was craving to feel connected to like-minded people and people who were passionate about, health, wellness, relationships, body image, lifestyle of a teenager. I wanted to talk about nutrition, wellness, health, studying for the SATs, the ACTs, going to college, leaving the nest, had to deal with breaking up with your boyfriend, STDs, teen pregnancy, like you named it. I wanted to dive into the conversation.
Mm.
There was just no platform for that. So I happened to have been in television production at the time and created a radio talk show concept called Teen Talk Live and pitched it to a local AM radio station in Delray Beach, Florida.
Mm.
So now, a 16-year-old would go to YouTube or IGTV or Snapchat or TikTok to create cool videos. In 2007, I went to local AM broadcast radio. So my
Cool.
career, little did I know, would start with Teen Talk Live, but actually started in broadcast radio, and it evolved from there. So 3 years into hosting Teen Talk Live, started making my way into traditional TV broadcast news, until I put my first mission trip together to Africa on behalf of Feminine Hygiene Care. We got Delta and Kotex to be sponsors of this mission trip, empowering women's hygiene and education,
Mm.
and took along a CBS camera, put together a 4-part docu-series, and when it aired on CBS in South Florida, You by Kotex asked me to be their millennial spokesperson. This was 2009,
Cool.
my freshman year in college, 3 years into hosting Teen Talk Live, and truly, Carolina, this was the beginning of influencer marketing.
Yeah.
When a brand was asking an everyday teenager or person to be their ambassador, to be their spokesperson, to be their advocate for their brand. And that 1-year agreement working together turned into 5 years working together. So that was really the beginning of the agency like work that I do in coaching and consulting for business owners in their marketing and content creation. So it's been a wonderful journey. There's no short story because it's been 12 years
I
in
know.
making. and thankful for all the experiences along the way.
No, that is awesome that at such a young age you started that. I mean, when I was 16, what was I doing when I was 16? I think I was hanging out on some forums. I'm a little older than you, of course. So when I was 16, we didn't even have MySpace. I think we had, what did we have? We had other networks, but forums and ICQ and that kind of stuff. MSN Messenger, like those things. That was the social media.
AIM Messenger, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's really amazing that you thought of something more meaningful to do, right? Online.
You know what, Carolina? The honest truth is that my passion and frustration, a little frustration and a little passion, frustration of the lack of connection and the lack of empowerment around my peers, around the next generation, because the conversation was millennials are lazy, entitled, narcissistic, the demise of the future. They're never going to supersede their parents. And I was just like, where is the conversation motivating me to succeed instead of telling me that I'm a failure? Right before we even got going. So my frustration and passion for wanting to connect is what made me just take pen to paper and start the concept of Teen Talk Live. And I think that there's a beautiful learning lesson in that, because, you know, in 2020, there's so much more clutter in the landscape than there was in 2007. So I think the fact that there are so many more people doing awesome things makes people not start. Like, oh, so-and-so's doing that already. Exactly. Oh, so-and-so over there already has 1 million followers. Oh, you know, no one cares what I have to say. That's not true. You know, purpose and passion, you can never beat it, that combination. So if you have an idea for a business or even for a side hustle or a passion project, it doesn't always have to lead with how do I generate revenue, but it could just be an outlet to express passion and your creativity and your skill set. And you never know how that can evolve to potentially become something monetizable. And that was really the beginning of my career.
Yeah, I think that's key, like starting with something for yourself and not with the goal of X amount of money that I'm going to make or X amount of followers that I'm going to have, or, oh, I only got 2 likes, so nobody cares, I stop.
It's over. Right.
Yeah.
It's like everyone has to start somewhere, right? Yeah. And because of social media and because of the online landscape, now we can diversify and monetize in multiple ways, online, offline, using social, not using social, right? How many channels do we have to build traffic and engagement to then sell those metrics eventually? So it's just about really getting clear. And I think in this period of pause that we're in because of the pandemic, of realigning with yourself. Like, what do I want to do? What does make me excited? And does it have to lead to monetization right now? Or can it be an outlet that allows you to express and create and connect that could lead to, you know, money down the line?
Eventually, exactly. Absolutely. So when did you get into, you know, what you do now? You have this this Twitter chat, which, by the way, I've been on Twitter since 2008, a long time. And I think in all this time, I only was invited to one other Twitter chat like this. And I was really amazed by what you built there. So how did you get to that idea? How did it start?
You know what, actually, Carolina, Millennial Talk Twitter chat is a perfect example of just, you know, a passion project that turned into something more. So I was hosting Teen Talk Live, my radio show, and Teen Talk Live, by the time so I started when I was 16, 4 years in, when I turned 20, I was like, okay, it's time for the next evolution in this show, right? I'm growing out of my teen years. My voice is maturing. My interests are maturing, and I'm starting to become more of the entry level worker in the workplace, not the person looking for the internship, right? So it evolved to the Chelsea Krost show. And the Chelsea Krost show got actually picked up for a television series, which was so much fun in 2012. Learned so much. And from the migration from radio to TV, I wanted to still have that online connection. So I said, you know what? I was starting to invite people during the radio show because I was doing the radio shows live. So it was a live show.
Cool.
I said, you know what? Join the conversation on Twitter. Pull open your Twitter feed. It was my way of bringing the community into the show before like live stream existed. Think about live stream. You're open on live. You're having a conversation, but you're able to hear from your audience and all those comments and engagement. So that's what I was trying to create with the radio show. So I said, pull up in your Twitter feed, let's open the conversation, hashtag Millennial Talk. And the tweets were starting to get so, they were starting to like really roll in so fast that I was actually like going to look at the tweets more and losing my train of thought in the interview. And I was like, why don't we try this 60-minute Q&A format on Twitter? Where everyone can get on the conversation, but there's always a topic of conversation, right? There's always a defined topic and a defined guest who's the credible expert on that topic. And then it's also this awesome big community forum, right? This big group chat, lots of valuable insight and a great networking opportunity for people to meet like-minded people. And so this started 6 years ago. And it has been such an evolution over the past 6 years of the Millennial Talk Twitter chat, evolving and growing, and our community growing and evolving. We have had incredible guests like yourself, like Damon John from Shark Tank, like Lewis Howes, I'm blanking on 100 million people right now.
No, but Damon John, Lewis Howes, that's amazing.
Damon John, Lewis Howes, Grant Cardone from 10X Growth Con. I mean, we've had so many amazing, big powerhouse experts and thought leaders who are bringing so much information for free for everyone to learn from. And it's also a fun way to meet new people. So Millennial Talk is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It started out as a total way to grow my digital footprint, build my thought leadership, build my online network, create more engagement on my Twitter feed. And all of those goals led to what Millennial Talk is now, but it has also led to another way that I monetize online and work with brand partners online. So again, like thinking about what are your goals and how can you use the social media, content creation, or online forums, right? Whether maybe it's on social or not on social, even Zoom chat, like a webinar, right? Yeah. To fill a need within your industry or within your target consumer group that could be a great brand builder, awareness builder, content creator that could lead to monetization. These are all the abilities that we have as online entrepreneurs and business owners today.
Yeah. No, that's a great story. What would you recommend to the people listening who they want this outlet, like they want to do something, but of course they have this belief that, well, who's going to participate in my Twitter chat or who's going to watch my Facebook Live or whatever? Yes. What do you recommend to get some traction and get things going? Even if you don't monetize it immediately, that's obviously not going to happen. Right. But what's your recommendation for them to start, like some tips?
I love this question because this is like really where it all gets going, right? You have to start somewhere. Yeah. And so many of us don't even get to the somewhere because we stop ourselves before we even allow ourselves to get started. Like a lot of the time we are our own worst enemy, like self-sabotaging, right? Allowing our thoughts in that internal dialogue shoot our idea down before we even give it a chance to breathe a little bit, right? So there's a few stages in this evolution, in the where do you begin, right? And the reality is, Carolina, things don't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day. So that's right. So the first things first is like, let's manage expectations. let's not have the expectation of that we're going to become viral sensations overnight, that we're going to become 6-figure business owners overnight. All of these like really big video titles or course titles of like 6 figures in 6 months, or, you know, 1 million followers in 1 month. They make me really frustrated because it's not managing realistic expectations, and it's not true. Maybe it's true for the people that already have 100,000 followers, right? But if you're starting from scratch, we have to be realistic. So here's a few places to begin. I call this like stage 1, which is just your personal brand foundation. What are you passionate about? What gives you purpose? What makes you feel like you are living and being your best self? What experience in your career and your personal life can you bring into this passion and purpose? What expertise can you really solidify and put your finger on? Is it graphic design? Is it web development? Is it nutrition counseling? Is it finance? What is your expertise, right? That you are also passionate about, that gives you purpose, that you have experience doing. Think of your strengths. What is the message that you want to get across with that purpose, with that passion, with that expertise? And then you all like that's the foundation right there, right? Are you a silly person? Are you a little bit more of a conservative person? Are you a little outlandish? Are you a little more reserved? Like, what is the voice within your passion, your purpose, your expertise, right? These are all part of the things that we can all just like have a quiet conversation with ourselves about with a spiral notepad. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? Passion, purpose, experience, your expertise. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What colors do you like? These color palette, right? Your brand identity kind of building. This is the foundation. And this is the foundation that you get to continue to layer on top of. The next layer is, okay, my passion is helping people get financially fit for startup entrepreneurs. Just making up an example, right? Then you know that your target audience is startup entrepreneurs, people within the entry-level stages of their business. So think about the mindset of someone in the entry-level stage of their business. What are they going to be in need of? They're going to be in need of legal support, financial support, how to support, online versus offline. Your expertise can start sharing value to those startup entrepreneurs. So it's really just about getting clear with yourself. And I will share even my personal branding, like building blocks, I call them with you, Carolina, if we want to share them through social. But it's really, some people, I think, when it's like, what's my next idea? Or what we think of it like at the 30-foot view. The brand, the website, the social, the content, the marketing, the influencers, the sales, right? We think of all of we kind of like put it in this one big bucket. Yeah. Versus thinking one step at a time. And thinking one step at a time takes like that overwhelm out of the equation and really helps for you to think more clearly and think about what's just the next action step that I could take today that gets me to my end goal tomorrow. So that's why I like calling it building blocks. I think of like branding and branding online as a house. Think about the first thing you do when you're building a home. You're going to lay the concrete slab
the foundation
down. The foundation. If you start building that house while the foundation is wet, that house is going to crumble down. So the more solid your concrete slab, the bigger the mega mansion you could build. So if you're going to take, like, what is that next step? Think about building your personal brand foundation and getting clear on that. And then it really starts to layer more organically from there.
Exactly. Well said. What network do you think, like if you had to pick one to start from all the platforms, because people think, oh, I need to have a podcast, I need to have a YouTube channel, I need to, like you just said, everything at once, right? Where would you say it's quote unquote the easiest place to start today?
Okay. So I say there are 5 stages to building your visibility, influence, and profits online. I call it like your VIP success, right? 5 stages. Stage 1, personal brand foundation.
Yes.
Passion, purpose, brand story, voice, logo, color story, right? Stage 2, packaging your expertise. So we could be kick-ass graphic designers. We could be amazing photographers. We could really know how to help someone scale their success online with like Facebook ads. I'm just extracting a few different expertises online. But how do we package our expertise to sell it? Someone could come to you and be like, I need a website. But if you have no package of how you deal with your website builds, then you're leaving too much question for the consumer or the customer. So I like to do packages, right? You know, entry-level website, e-commerce website audit, right? Meaning that you're not building it from scratch, you're tweaking it. And what do those packages entail? What do those deliverables entail? So that when you list it on your website or you share it on social media, the who, what, where, when, why, how I could work with this person is more established. How can you package and position your expertise to sell? Stage 2. Stage 3 is your question, Carolina. How do we pick what platform or what activation, right, we do online to pop through the clutter and connect with our target customer, right? And also stand out from the competition, because everyone's on social media. Everyone has a website, right? So I call stage 3 like disrupting the market with your signature traffic builder. A signature traffic builder is something signature to Carolina, signature to Chelsea, signature to everybody's personal brand or business. Carolina, your podcast is a signature traffic builder. It's something that you consistently do and push out to your audience, where you're giving entertainment and value, right, to your audience. Further giving your skill set to your audience as well, right? Throughout the conversation.
Right.
Millennial Talk Twitter chat is one of my signature traffic builders. So what is a signature traffic builder that makes sense for your expertise, for your industry, for your customer? The first question to ask yourself is, where is my customer online? I do a lot of business on Twitter, so it made sense for me to do Millennial Talk Twitter chat on Twitter. So that are your customers on LinkedIn? Maybe you should be thinking more about LinkedIn articles. LinkedIn's also rolling out more live stream. Are your customers on Instagram? Maybe you need to do an IGTV channel. All of my customers on YouTube, then you should do a YouTube series. Where is your customer online? And what activation, Twitter chat, podcast, ebook, webinar, how-to video series, what makes sense on that platform that's going to allow you to engage your audience, remain consistent, and share your expertise while also engaging others to build your community. So like, these are all the questions that we should be asking ourselves when thinking about where we want to commit our time in a signature traffic builder. A blog is also a great, option for those who are creators, bloggers, thought leaders as well. And then that blog can be shared across social media. Blog, podcast, ebook, book, Twitter chat, webinar, live stream. These are all great signature traffic builders to think about for our brand and for our business.
And the good thing is that you can start with one, but the other great thing is you can always repurpose your content.
Yes.
Like, for example, I have a YouTube channel, so every podcast interview, I put it on the podcast and I upload it on YouTube. Then you take a clip, you put it on Instagram and Twitter. So I think some people get overwhelmed because they think they need to create a piece of content for every single platform. And it doesn't have to be that way. But
you're so spot on, because that is the name of the game. How can you get creative in repurposing your content so that you're building your content library without creating all this content from scratch? all the time. So I like to think of a signature traffic builder as like, what's my longer form piece of content? So let's use this interview as an example,
Exactly.
this podcast interview, right? So this is going to be a longer form piece of content, 30 minutes. Carolina is going to share this on social media. I'm going to share it on social media. Then she's going to post it on YouTube. Then I could take this entire clip within 30 minutes and probably create 10 to 15 second micro pieces of content. Exactly. And Carolina and I could both use these micro pieces of content across social media or even like Instagram stories with a swipe up link to tease the longer piece of content.
You got it.
So getting creative with repurposing longer form content into micro pieces of content is such a great strategy. Maybe you have a great 5 great articles that are all within the same genre and they all kind of layer on top of each other. Can you take those 5 articles and put them into a PDF for download? Yeah. And collect emails upon, people wanting to download? Can you take those 5 blogs and turn them into an email series? Can you take those 5 blog posts and turn those into 5 videos, right? So just get creative within your content that you're creating as well. You can always repurpose and get strategic with different formats as well.
Exactly. So I hope you guys listening are taking some notes here because Chelsea's giving some really, really, really good advice on how to start with your content creation and your branding. What do you think about, or maybe I should ask, have you figured out how to create content for TikTok? Because, for example, that's everybody's going there now. Suddenly, yes. I follow a lot of YouTubers and Instagram influencers. And many of them are suddenly going on TikTok. And I've had an account there for like 5 years since it was, Musical.ly? And I still can't quite figure out how to create content because I don't create funny content or entertaining content. I'm not going to be doing challenges and stuff like that. So is that a platform you have explored? Have you figured it out? Do you know anybody who has? What do you think about it?
I am such a fan of watching a lot of the videos. Yeah. But you know what, Carolina, you just said something so perfectly out loud. It's like, I don't make funny content. You make a lot of like value-driven content.
Right.
So the fact that you make a lot of value-driven content, you're a little bit more for the entrepreneur, less for the, like teenager at home. Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the teenager at home either. But, it's like maybe you don't need to spend your creative time on TikTok versus creating more value-driven content on channels where your audience already is. And I'm all about not spreading yourself thin. There's already so much to do as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as creators today. So if a new channel rolls out that you're like, how do I make this work for me? Right. If you're trying to put a square in a circle, maybe move on to using your time more productively, right? Yeah. So just because TikTok's surging right now doesn't mean you shouldn't be getting in on trending things, right? Or trying something new. But I'm saying if it's stressing you out to the point of you don't know how to be integrating this into your business, can you just use that time more productively in creating a blog post, a YouTube video, scheduling more podcast interviews? Because how much are you, Carolina, already doing, right? So right, exactly. So I'm truly about, really pick 3 social media channels and dominate on those channels. Yeah. So, and then I always say 3 and then always just keep LinkedIn up to date because LinkedIn is like our living online resume, exactly. Right? Yeah. So if you could have LinkedIn up to date and, post every now and then, of course, but at least if someone finds you on LinkedIn, it's relevant information. And then your 3 other channels, of where your audience is primarily, that's it. don't worry. You're already in enough places. And if you want to do TikTok every now and then to just sprinkle it in there, great. I am not a TikTok expert by any means. One of my great friends who would probably be great for the podcast, Carolina, his name's Brandon Hatcher. He has been pumping out some great TikTok content with more of the like entrepreneurial lens. So I would say check him out if you're more if you want more TikTok like information.
Absolutely.
But don't stress yourself out if you already feel like you're spread thin. Dominate on the channels that you already have some momentum on, and that your audience is definitely present on.
It's just I also get that question from people, whenever I do an Instagram live, I get people asking, hey, is TikTok worth it and stuff like that. And since I myself haven't figured it out, I can't really give an honest answer. I follow, of course, when it comes to entrepreneurs, I follow Gary Vee a lot, and he's been crushing it over there. But his content is not like something that you just record yourself and upload it. He has a whole team of people creating that content with him. So
exactly. And this is where we have to like manage our comparisonitis.
Exactly.
Because we could look at Gary Vee's videos and go, oh, he has a whole production team. He's killing it on TikTok. I'll never be that great. Or I'll never create videos like that. Mm-hmm. And that's Gary freaking Vee, like that. So he does have a whole staff. His voice and his brand is very bold and real and, very like in your face, in a good way. Like, hey, calling everybody out.
Yeah.
We all need to be called out on our shit sometimes, to like get out of our own way. But it totally makes sense for Gary Vee to be on TikTok.
Absolutely.
Right. It totally, if you are just a silly, funny person, then it's just going to pull it out of you. I'm more of like, don't put the pressure on yourself to have to be that. If your voice or your brand or your business isn't, stick to what your audience is really telling you they want. Right. And maybe you need to do some more social listening. Asking your audience what information they want more of, what they want less of, what they're in need of during this time. And creating the content that your audience is asking for is a sure way to start generating more traffic, more interest, more loyalty, because you're really leaning into what your audience is in need of, and then you're serving them.
Exactly.
You're serving them the solution to their needs. And like, that's the give and take with social media. Sometimes we get into more of the posting versus the engagement and listening. And sometimes it's not about what you're posting. Sometimes it's really about just taking a minute to listen so that you can realize what you should be creating, ongoing. And that has a lot to do with just actually taking the time to look through hashtags, look through comments, looking through progress in your analytics, and comparing some of the content over the past month of what performed well and what didn't perform so well. Like, you really use those as a radar to gauge future content creation.
Yeah. Like, definitely find out what people already like from what you're putting out there and create more of that. Like, yes, that's the science. It's not that complicated. Yes. And the good thing about social is most platforms, or I would say all platforms, give you some kind of data to be able to make those decisions. So that works.
Exactly. And a lot of people forget that we can just pull open Instagram and type in hashtags relevant to our business. So are you, web developer, hashtag web development, hashtag small business needs, hashtag startup entrepreneur, hashtag startup website, right? So like, what is your industry? And then type in all these hashtags to get inspired by some of the content that's fueling these hashtags. Because if that hashtag's relevant to your industry, you want your content to be populating there as well. So use it as inspiration to be like, oh, okay. And source it as inspiration for what content and messaging is relevant for your expertise, for your voice, for your strengths, for your customer. So because there's so much online, there's also so much inspiration for us to seek from online too.
And it's a good investment of our time right now with having
Oh
to
yeah.
stay in more. Like, instead of watching too many Netflix shows, go on Instagram, investigate some hashtags, check out Chelsea's Millennial Talk every Tuesday on Twitter.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, here's the reality. Sometimes people are putting a lot of pressure on themselves right now to be productive as possible. And some people are using this pause to actually self-reflect.
Yeah.
Self-reflect within, self-reflect on their brand, on their business, on their digital footprint, and use it as a time for auditing. Maybe it's before you're creating and doing, maybe
Exactly.
there's a little bit more of an audit and listen opportunity for you in this time. So it's really about like just evaluating, what do you need right now while the world is in a moment of pause. And I think that we can use this pause as a very symbolic opportunity to also do that with ourselves and our business and evaluate, right? Log
Yeah.
on to our website, go through every tab, comb through our copy, pull open our email campaigns. Are they relevant? Are they up to date? Scroll through our social media content. What content's working? What content's not working? Use all of this information to only fuel what you do moving forward.
Love it. Love it. What
And the
is
world is online, so content creation, you can't go wrong with that right now, right?
yeah, yeah. And that is a good thing too. Like, you can create content from anywhere. Like, you don't need to go to any fancy place. Like,
Yeah.
you can just do it from home.
Yep.
What is your advice to finish up to people who are struggling right now with some mindset issues, feeling a bit down with the whole situation? How do you deal with this? What's your advice?
Well, first of all, I totally relate to everyone going through a lot of struggle in their head, right? Because this is an unprecedented time. We have never lived through anything like anything we are experiencing right now with the coronavirus. We are all experiencing this unknown and uncharted territory and fear together. We are all being forced to have to pivot within our personal lives and professional lives right now. Some of us have had opportunity ripped out from under us, revenue ripped out from under us. So many of us who are at home reevaluating how to get work done if we don't already work from home virtually or remote work. And also, are you managing watching your children or being their teacher while they're, so the amount of new, the amount of unknown, the amount of pivoting that we are doing, of course, everybody deserves the opportunity to feel a little frazzled and a little chaotic and a little stressed out and maybe sometimes swirling down like the rabbit hole, right, of negative thinking where you feel like you're just going to get stuck in this black hole. And one of the biggest pivots that I had to do over the past month was actually halt launching my podcast. Which I had been working so hard on and was so excited to finally launch it. And it just, the podcast it's called Fuck FOMO. And it's all about how FOMO, the fear of missing out, is stopping us in so many aspects of our life, right? Yeah. This conversation of self-sabotage or stopping before we're even allowing ourselves to get started. And I think that there's FOMO is such a spectrum. Like it's just so much more than fear of missing out. It's like fear of mental overdrive, fear of money obstacles, fear of marketing ourselves, fear of, there's so many fears that we face personally and professionally. And I felt, okay, upon the coronavirus and all of us staying safe at home, everybody has the right to feel more fear than ever. This is not the time to be, saying fuck FOMO. Nope. This is a really scary time. So while getting fuck FOMO ready, I was also in creation on a mindset tool, which is a labor of love with my sister-in-law and I, Marissa Hughes. She's an amazing trauma therapist and an intuitive healer. And for the past several years, her and I have been having conversations about our collaboration, future collaboration, because while she's a trauma therapist and I am a marketing and branding strategist, two totally different industries, but we would have so many alike conversations of how fear was keeping people stuck personally and professionally. And we're like, wow, I'm talking about social media and content creation and the fears keeping them. And she's talking about, you know, emotional abuse and relationship trauma but the conversation of fear was so like-minded. And it's like, oh my God, if only we can help these people get unstuck to help them move forward to be their best self that they want to be personally and professionally. So long story short, we've created the Rainbow Reality Method, which is a 7-step process to resetting your mindset. It's a DIY free guide.
Awesome.
In 7 easy, simple steps, you can really rewire your thinking and hopefully hopefully have a perspective shift, right? From maybe being in that chaotic state of mind, really negative thinking pattern, to really wanting to move into a happier, healthier, more peaceful state of mind and taking purposeful action towards being your best self, personally or professionally. So upon us having to stay at home, I was like, okay, we need to get the Rainbow Reality Method out there for the world in this really difficult time. So the Rainbow Reality Method was launched last week. It is available for free. It is mine and Marissa's gift right now, right? All we can do is have compassion and empathy for others in this moment. I feel like it's really icky to be selling right now, right? We all need to be leaning on each other. So this mindset method is something that's really been helping me stay sane while working from home. And anytime that I'm feeling like I'm getting knocked off balance, which is really easy right now, you know, it helps me realign and reset and practice gratitude. So for anyone who's spinning their wheels at home or struggling with cabin fever or feeling less than personally or professionally, the Rainbow Reality Method is such an easy step that we could do for ourselves to check in and reflect personally and professionally, like right now, right? If you're like, I don't know where to start next, or I don't know what to do to help myself, this could just be that simple next step and a really great opportunity to use it as like a guided meditation, right? Like for all of us who are just kind of plowing ahead and not allowing ourselves to feel right now, this is allowing us to, like, you know, sit in our feelings, feel a little bit, but make it a productive and purposeful exercise without putting too much pressure on ourselves. Because we all deserve this opportunity to reflect. Like, nobody's a superhero in this time. Like, it is uncharted, unprecedented time. We're all going through this together. The world has been flipped upside down, and it's okay if you're not your best self. Right. But don't crawl up on the couch and have fear that the world is ending, you know, because it's not. We will. That's why the Rainbow Reality Method, Carolina, is called the Rainbow Reality Method. Like, we will have rainy days, but the sun always comes out after it rains. Don't know when or how long it's raining, but the sun always comes out. And you need the rain and you need the sun for the beautiful rainbow.
Where can people get it? Where is it available?
Super easy, rainbowrealitymethod.com.
Rainbowrealitymethod.com.
rainbowrealitymethod.com. Very easy. It's also the link in my Instagram at Chelsea Krost. And rainbowrealitymethod.com, literally right at the top, free guide. If you don't want to read anything else, you don't have to. Otherwise, you could check out a little bit more about, like, the making of the Rainbow Reality Method. It's founded in psychology principles of cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness. So for anyone that's like, oh, this is like a, you know, this is just another woohoo kind of method. No, there's, you know, it's really founded in evidence-based psychology principles, inspired by these psychology principles, and a natural flow, hopefully, to create a shift for you throughout these 7 steps. I say you could do this in 7 minutes. 7 steps, 7 minutes. Everybody deserves to take 7 minutes for themselves every day. rainbowrealitymethod.com, totally free. And maybe you're feeling great, but your mom or your friend or your sister or your husband is really struggling right now. Maybe they're
might be for them. Excellent. I'm going to put the link in the description of the episode anyway, of course, for people to get
Thank
it.
you.
I'm going to get it
Thank you.
myself too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah.
And for those, and just one last offer for everyone, because I am so all about using this period to kind of sit back and learn versus have to lean in and do so much if that is stressing you out. And it's amazing how much opportunity we have to learn, right, for growth.
Oh, yes.
Right. And listening to this podcast is a learning opportunity. If you are on LinkedIn right now, I have a learning personal branding course available on LinkedIn Learning. You could finish the entire personal branding course in 50 minutes. You could sit and just finish it in 50 minutes. Here's the really cool thing. If you're a LinkedIn Premium member, it's already free. If you are not a LinkedIn Premium member, you can watch it for 30 days for free.
Nice.
So there's so much free content out there to inspire you during this time. If it's not a time for doing for you, but it's a time for learning for you. And that learning personal branding on LinkedIn. So my two biggest things that I'm just here to give value is learning the LinkedIn course and the Rainbow Reality Method, free.
Excellent.
But really great ways to kind of be passively productive during this time.
I love that. Passively productive.
And inspire you to move forward as well.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, totally. It's like preparing ourselves, so when the world slowly begins to activate again, we're not completely numb, we're ready to.
Exactly.
Now we can do. Yeah.
Exactly. And for everyone, Carolina, who has been building their digital footprint and has been building their personal brand online, think about those people right now in the pandemic versus people that have no online presence. The people with an online presence are that much more likely to still land opportunity, to still monetize, to still generate income.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of building your personal brand or digital footprint for your business online, is that you could still be relevant in a time where it's, where the world is upside down. So building your personal brand, building your digital footprint, it's not just about today, it's about the long-term sustainability and growth for your business, for your brand, and diversifying your revenue. Creating additional ways to monetize. Having one basket right now in the state of this pandemic is really scary, because if you only have one way to monetize right now and that way is not monetizable, you're out of revenue. Versus if you're diversifying how you monetize your brand and your business, one way could be down while this way is still monetizing. Correct. So now has never been a better time to evaluate what you could do to build your personal brand and business brand online. And if this pandemic isn't a reality slap for how we are moving more virtually and we're moving more online, I don't know, what is. This is a pretty big sign. Yeah.
Like this is it. Like if you didn't,
this is it.
If you were not convinced before, like look at us. Like I tell people ask me like how much your life's changed. Well, I'm still working exactly the way I used to work. I just can't go outside like I used to.
Exactly. So it's a weird whiplash for all the people that are virtual workers, right? Because they're just like it's like nothing's happened. And for some people, a lot has happened, right? But having that community and footprint and lead generation kind of in the works with your content marketing efforts online is only going to position you as a stronger competitor within the competition and the cluttered landscape today. So that's why it's like maybe you're not doing right now, but you could be listening right now for inspiration on what to do for your personal brand and business moving forward. So yes, without putting so much pressure on yourself right now, you will thank yourself later. Mm-hmm. That is for sure.
100%.
If you use this as a learning opportunity.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Chelsea, thank you so much. We definitely went over the time. I'm sorry if it was a little too long, but definitely valuable. Thank you so much for all your inputs. I could keep talking to you for another hour, but maybe we can do another podcast down the road.
But we have time. You know where to find me. I'll be home.
Yeah, and I will want to be on yours when it launches.
Yes. Well, thank you so
interviews.
much. Yeah, that is the goal, and hopefully sooner than later, for sure.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody. You can follow Chelsea at Chelsea Krost on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. I'm gonna put your links in the description for sure, and say hello.
Thank you, everyone. Wishing you the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane. We will get through this.
We will get through this. Speak soon.